it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. And Merry Christmas and much love to all the empowered harmonizers out there. Happy holidays to you and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Let's get ready for a fresh start. It's just coming around the corner, so let's get prepared now and let's get in the right mindset so that you can maximize the beginning of the new year and get some real results that you want to see in your life. And so one of the topics I really want to zoom in and focus on today is the encounter or experience of quote-unquote disbelief in one's healing. In other words, oh my gosh, this can't be true. I'm actually making a choice. I'm actually making a decision. I'm actually leaving the narcissist. I'm actually saying no to the psychopath. I'm actually blazing a trail, and this feels so good, this can't be real. So it's like there's a depersonalization or a lack of feeling of reality or a lack of belief in oneself that this could actually be working out. And really that is an experience where you are really encountering the unfamiliar, the new. And it's part of your neurology that's trying to get back, trying to go back to the old ways, the old blueprint, the old template, the old way of thinking, feeling, behaving, choosing, and living your life in that lifestyle. So there oftentimes is a state of, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is working. And there is like a kind of a ricochet perhaps of fear at your own success. And can this really be true? Is this too good to be true? Pinch me, am I sleeping? You know, is this my fairy tale come real? What is going on? So there can be this state after the neurological reset when you're beginning to put the pieces together after the relationship and you're saying, you know what? Now I have courage enough and personal power enough, now that I know what that feels like, to be able to see things clearly, feel clearly, decide clearly, and I'm now using my imagination now moving forward. My prefrontal cortex is now freed up from the fear. It's now freed up from the anxiety. It's now freed up from that stress, that flood of cortisol, the stress hormones that were engulfing my system previously. And now that has become reduced. I'm no longer living in that hypermaniac, chaotic, let me settle the score, let me prove that I'm right, let me launch into an anger, you know, get back at you, sort of habituated feeling or reactionary state, which is really part of the relationship, is kind of coming through that transition and clearing through that fight or flight, that limbic system, that feeling constantly in fear, constantly in threat, constantly being judged, constantly being scapegoated, the fear of the smear campaign, what everyone else is thinking about you as a result of what they're trying to do to manipulate the situation, the outcome of the family gathering, the party, the work chaos, wherever it is you're finding yourself in this. Oftentimes the reset of out of that mode, out of that I'm trying to control this, you know, what did I do wrong, beating myself up sort of mentality, to beginning to understand perhaps they're, you know, now I'm resetting myself, I'm recalibrating, I'm resetting my neurology and my neurochemicals, my neurohormones that are flooding into my muscles and really feeling my etheric and my emotional body. So yes, men and women have emotions. And oftentimes, you know, it is this, you know, in the men, it is their manlyhood that is attacked, their ability to be a man, to not feel wimped out or not feel manipulated or overpowered by the demands of that woman, and to feel that they can still be a provider, because oftentimes that is what a man feels, that he wants to be able to provide and protect, that they can still do that without giving themselves away and kind of losing to the narcissist equation, because really, you know, narcissist plus empath is going to equal, you know, someone is going to, you know, be taken advantage of. So it is really, and also for the women who have felt that they have given so much of their kindness, almost like a bellows, it's just been never ending. They've been trying to, you know, fan the flames of this relationship and trying to control and nurture and be there and be giving, that where the exhaustion takes place, and then then when they're down and then your body language is so down, you wonder why, you feel guilty, on the healing path. When you finally make that decision, you stand up for yourself, you look yourself square in the shoulders, or you feel your body is opening up now. I talk very much about how important it is, the physiology of healing, and being able to stand with your shoulders erect, your shoulders rolled out, your palms open, your heart open, and at least doing this for yourself. Or even, like the social psychologist Amy Cuddy, professor at Harvard, she talks about the victory pose. Yes, and holding that for 2 minutes and how good that makes you feel. It's changing and rewiring the physiology. No longer, that's why everybody who, if you look at your biology, oftentimes you will be able to see your own body language. When you come around the narcissist, do you feel your body curling up into a little ball? Do you feel like your neck is kind of jutting forward? Do you feel like you're kind of in the self-protection mode? Your body is, so your physiology, you're sending the neural messages and the neurochemicals and the neurohormones to be depressed, to be anxious, and to feel bad and to feel guilty. So when you find your body doing that, reassert your physiology. Sit with your head up, with your chin up, your shoulders rolled out. Even do it for a little bit with your palms facing open, and your feet square on the floor, or the victory pose. Yes, like when you see Serena Williams win a tennis match, or you see Michael Jagger, I ain't got no satisfaction, and he's strutting around, and he's doing his moves, move like Jagger. And so, and then there's oftentimes, though, there is an experience of feeling guilty or disbelief that the healing can take place. So that can be the second layer of barrier in the healing, is that you almost feel like it's too good to be true. Like finally life is okay. And the reason why it's so difficult is because that feeling that life is okay, that you can be part of life, you can have a sense of belonging and trust and safety, it's so difficult, and oftentimes you feel so guilty because it would contradict your struggle. In other words, you simultaneously can't feel disbelief and belief at the same time. I mean, it just can't coexist. If it does, it's part of that cognitive dissonance, where you're battling back and forth. And so it is realizing that, becoming consciously aware of, wow, do I feel guilty for taking care of myself? If so, then that's where you need to begin. If you're feeling that it's not okay for you to make positive choices for yourself, declarative statements, protecting your boundaries, being able to receive respect. I find that those who have been through relationships with narcissists and psychopath, it is very difficult for them after the experience to receive. It's very difficult for them to feel like they can receive compliments, receive hugs, receive eye contact without feeling afraid like this can't be true. And it's very difficult. They come into, states of isolation, or what they feel is loneliness, or what they're labeling as loneliness. And, what I'm describing to you is, you're labeling that, you're assessing metacognitively, you're assessing a meaning to it. And so I would invite you and encourage you to not give yourself the meaning or the label of being isolated. Let's turn that around and let's call that independent. Let's call that autonomous. Let's call that liberated. Let's call that free. Let's call that autonomous. Let's call that self-governing. Let's call that individuated. So rather than feeling I am isolated, which is the negative label that you're putting on yourself because of all the crap that had been laden onto you, is then saying, you know what? I am individuated now. I am autonomous now. These are all psychological terms. I love it. We're talking psychology here, guys. This is the answer. I mean, you can struggle for 5 more years if you like, and try to guess at it yourself, or try to eventually stumble upon a solution. But I would challenge you and invite you to give you a solution here. Why not? Why don't we just heal and put this behind us for good? Because time is your most precious commodity. Time is your most precious asset. I call it your internal real estate, your feeling state. It is the most important property that you'll ever possess. I don't care if you have a mansion on the lake. I don't care if you have a huge ski lift on the hill. You own a yacht. I mean, the most important real estate that you will own is your own internal peace. And really, because that is what has been jeopardized in the relationship by someone who has manipulated you without your permission and caused you to feel things that were negative or disempowering for you. So getting you back into the power state, oftentimes that feeling of guilt seeps in. It is because it would contradict the struggle which you had formed your identity upon, and then it had called you the noble struggler, I am the victim, I am the giver, whatever it is that you've labeled yourself, and I'll constantly be trampled over and walked on. So that identity of the you is what's going to flip and change. So your sense of I am and I feel and I am becoming is now tied together with a vision, your imagination, which is kind of daydreaming, if you will. And I talk about that in the recovery journal, how important it is to have a vision of a positive outcome, because how can you get where you want to go if you don't know where you want? So part of the recovery pages is getting in touch with that. Wow, I would really love to be an equestrian. I would really love to ride horses. That might come up to you in your recovery pages. I would really love to become more spiritual. I would really love to study the Bible or other religious texts. I would love to become a history buff, or, read, 100 biographies of people. I would really love to study Monet, the works of Van Gogh. I would really love to learn about Picasso's life. Or I would love to learn about what it's like to be an astronaut or study the stars in space. I would really love to read about farming, or I would really love to, begin to take in a cat shelter, or become create a nursery in my home. I would love to create a daycare center. I would love to take care of a number of kids and have a playroom for them dedicated, and I want to carve out a part of my home and decorate it specifically for that. Or I want to have my own little inner sanctuary where I can go and read, and I can go and study, and I can listen to tapes and podcasts and videos, and have my journals, and have my own little sacred space in my home. And I'm going to create that little space. Even if it's the corner of my room, I'm going to make that for myself. I'm going to redo my bathroom. That would really be a great pick-me-up. I'm going to go for spurts of walks. Even if it's for 10 minutes, I'm going to realize what it is to reset my neural physiology and give myself these little pick-me-ups. Give yourself some pick-me-ups rather than the put-me-downs. It's very important for you to flip that stuff and get it recalibrated, reset in your neurology, and then let the guilt fade away. Let the guilt fade away. Let it fade away into nothingness. Hold your head up high. Hold your shoulders up. Keep your square, your hips square. Keep your body open and protect yourself in this openness. And you'll find that you'll be attracting much better feelings, thoughts, behaviors, choices, and visions for your future than if you contribute to the negative, which is the constant put-me-downs and the other old lifestyle, perhaps which you had been habituated to. It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Happy holidays and much love to the empowered harmonizers. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.